Ever wonder how a piece of equipment, like, becomes legendary, like achieves that almost mythical status? Today, we're tracing the sonic journey of Neve Electronics.
Yeah.
A name that's, well, it's synonymous with the absolute top tier of audio gear.
Right from the start.
We're talking Queen, David Bowie, Led Zeppelin, their sound, shaped by Neve.
Absolutely.
Now, for this deep dive, we're going straight to the source, AMS Neve's own Neve history page.
Okay.
And trust me, it's a treasure trove of info on how they went from a one-man operation to an absolute industry titan.
Yeah.
Imagine, it's 1961.
Okay.
Yuri Gagarin, he's up there making history in space, right?
Right.
And in this quiet corner of England, Rupert Neve is quietly, but just as significantly, laying the foundation for a revolution in audio.
What I find fascinating is that from day one, Neve was all about, bespoke quality, building custom consoles to order.
Interesting.
It really shows how dedicated they were to meeting, the specific needs of each client right from the get-go.
It's like the audio equivalent of a perfectly tailored suit.
Right. Exactly.
But, they didn't stay small scale for long.
Okay.
In 1964, they make a move to the Priest House facility.
Right.
And that's where things really get interesting.
That's right. Priest House, that's the place.
Yeah.
That's where Neve really kind of, changed the game for everybody.
Yeah. How so?
They introduced the world's first commercial transistor-based mixing console.
Wow.
Think about it back then. Studios, they were used to these bulky, fragile vacuum tubes.
Oh, yeah.
And then Neve comes along with this, compact, reliable transistor technology.
Wow.
It was a seismic shift in the industry.
A true pioneer. Now, for maybe our more technically minded listeners out there,
okay,
imagine the impact. Yeah. Transistors didn't just shrink things down. They created this cleaner, more precise sound.
Definitely.
I mean, some engineers loved it, while others really missed that tube warmth. It sparked the whole debate.
It was a real dividing line. Yeah.
And it's important to remember, this is still early days for transistors in, the audio world.
Right.
Neve was right there at the forefront of this whole transition.
Shaping the sound of an era.
Exactly.
So not content with just, completely revolutionizing consoles, they relocate again in '66 to a bigger factory in Melbourne.
Okay.
And, get this, even sort of dip their toes into the world of broadcast.
Interesting.
Creating the 2253 limiter for ABC Weekend Television.
And that little, foray into the world of broadcast, that led to something massive for musicians.
Oh, yeah.
The iconic 2254 compressor limiter. Okay. Still coveted today.
Wow.
Really shows how Neve's innovations, they weren't isolated incidents. They were all part of this, this journey, stepping stones.
It's like each piece of gear led to the next, building this legacy of incredible sound.
Right.
Okay, now buckle up, because the 1970s are about to get wild for Neve.
Oh, yeah.
First up, they unleashed the BCM 102 console.
Any guesses? Who snagged one of the very first ones?
Let me guess. Someone legendary.
Oh, you know it. None other than Pete Townsend of The Who. And get this, word on the street is, he still uses it today.
That says it all, doesn't it?
It really does.
Dave Grohl once called these early Neve boards the Cadillacs of recording consoles.
Wow.
And for good reason.
Speaking of leagues of their own, 1970 also marks the birth of a true game changer.
What's that?
The legendary 1073 microphone preamp.
The 1073.
Yeah.
This preamp, initially part of the Wessex A88 console, quickly became a legend in its own right.
Yeah.
It had this incredible ability to
what?
Add a warmth, a certain, je ne sais quoi recordings that engineers and musicians, they just fell in love with.
It's magic.
Yeah. And they're still chasing that sound today.
It's like the holy grail of preamps. For a reason.
For a reason.
But hold on tight, because Neve wasn't done shaking things up.
Okay.
In 1974, they unveiled the 8048 console.
Right.
And this wasn't just any console.
It was almost mythical, right?
Right.
The 8048 packed with 32 channels of those coveted 1081 preamps.
Oh, wow. Same ones that gave the 1073 its magic.
The same ones, yeah. Yeah, so
makes sense.
It's no wonder it became a favorite of rock royalty, you know.
Of course.
We're talking Led Zeppelin, Iggy Pop. Huge. Deep Purple.
Wow. So many big names.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know, there's one recording that really cemented the 8048's place in music history.
You're talking about Queen and David Bowie's Under Pressure, right?
That's the one.
Recorded at Queen's Mountain Recording Studios.
I mean, that session on that console,
legendary.
the stuff of legend. You can practically hear the 8048 in every single note.
Oh, absolutely.
But, you know, the innovation train.
Right.
It kept on rolling.
It did.
He then introduced
what did they call them?
the inline monitor consoles.
Yeah.
The 8058 and 8068.
Right.
Now, for those, I don't know, maybe unfamiliar.
Yeah.
An inline console, basically, it combines the recording and monitoring paths.
Right.
Offering engineers more flexibility and control.
Huge for workflow.
Yeah.
Huge.
And you know what I find really interesting?
What's that?
It's a real testament to their design that the very first 805 8068 console in the UK wasn't even in a music studio.
Really?
It was installed at Thames Television.
Wow, that's wild.
Shows you how adaptable and in demand their technology had become.
They were everywhere. Yeah.
And in 1978, they installed a very special console at Sir George Martin's Air Studios, the Air Montserrat.
This console is, I mean, it's practically synonymous.
I know. Right?
With the Police's album Synchronicity.
Exactly.
Recorded in 1983.
Such a good album.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Classic.
It just goes to show how intertwined a specific piece of gear can become.
Absolutely.
With the music.
Like the console itself becomes a part of. Like,
it's part of the band's legacy at that point.
Part of the band's legacy.
It's true.
It is.
Certain studios and consoles, they take on this almost mythical aura.
They really do.
Speaking of legendary consoles, we can't forget the V-Series.
Ah, the V-Series, yeah.
First installed in 1985.
Right.
It's another fascinating chapter in Neve's story, especially as digital audio technology is starting to emerge.
Yeah, it was.
And the V-Series' reputation.
Oh, yeah.
It preceded it.
It did.
The second one ever built went straight to Air Studios in London.
Wow.
Right alongside that famous Montserrat.
Of course.
But, you know, Neve didn't stop there.
Okay.
They released the V3 in 87.
Right.
And then really shook things up in 88.
Oh, yeah.
With the VR console.
The VR was groundbreaking.
Totally.
It was the first Neve console to feature, like, full console software.
Really?
And total recall capabilities.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, imagine being an engineer.
I can't even imagine.
For the first time.
Yeah.
You could, like, save an entire console's settings.
Oh, wow.
And recall them later.
That's huge.
This was massive for studios, saving them time.
Streamlining their workflow.
Exactly.
Talk about a game changer.
It's huge.
And they kept refining the V-Series too, right?
They did.
Like, I know there are more.
They released the VRP.
Right, the VRP.
Specifically designed with post-production in mind.
Okay.
And then there's the VR Legend.
Right.
Released in 1991.
Okay.
Which used oxygen-free signal cabling.
Oh, wow. Fancy.
Yeah, for even greater sonic clarity.
Nice.
It's like they took everything great about the V-Series and just, like, cranked it up.
Took it to 11.
To 11.
It's amazing how they just like anticipated these industry needs.
They were on top of it.
And here's the thing.
Yeah.
Even with the rise of digital audio in the 90s, there was still this huge demand.
Oh, yeah.
For these large format analog consoles. Absolutely. It really speaks to like the enduring magic.
The magic
of that Neve sound.
Neve sound, yeah.
Even with like, I don't know, all the digital advancements.
Well, the advancements.
There's just something special.
Oh, yeah.
About, I don't know, the warmth.
The warmth.
The depth.
I'm sure.
The sheer, like, musicality of a high-end analog console. And Nevar, they remained the gold standard.
The gold standard, absolutely.
That's so true.
Yeah.
They even released the VXS console in 1997, 96 channels.
Whoa.
A beast.
Yeah.
That proved analog was far from dead.
Not even close.
But, let's be honest.
Okay.
You know what's coming next.
I think I do.
The year 2001.
Okay.
A console so iconic, it would, like, redefine Neve's dominance for a new millennium. The 88R.
Right.
A glorious, like, return to form, you know?
Yeah, it really was.
The 88R, like, universal acclaim became a favorite in top studios across the world.
I mean, what I find so fascinating about it is I don't know how Neve adapted the 88R for film scoring.
Right.
With the addition of the SP2 scoring panel.
Oh, yeah. In 2004, right.
2004, yeah. Talk about, like, catering to a niche, you know?
So it's incredible. They turned the 88R into, like, a film composer's drum machine.
It really is.
132 buses.
Wow.
Unparalleled control. It's no wonder.
No wonder.
You find it on the biggest scoring stages in the world.
Yeah.
Jean Powell used one to score How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, wow.
How cool is that?
That's so cool. I mean, from
amazing.
From those early custom consoles that we talked about.
Right from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
To the cinematic soundscapes of the 88R. Neve's dedication to innovation.
Absolutely.
It's undeniable.
It really is.
It really makes you wonder, I don't know.
Yeah.
What would music sound like?
Totally.
About them?
What would it even sound like?
It's impossible to imagine.
Yeah. Their influence is
it's everywhere.
Woven into the fabric.
Right.
Of just countless iconic tracks.
So many.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing.
Isn't it?
Really. It really is. And, to think,
What's that?
This deep dive.
Yeah.
This has only just scratched the surface.
Just the tip of the iceberg, really.
Of Neve's story. Mm-hmm. Every console, every piece of gear,
all of it,
has its own story.
It has its own story to tell.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So cool.
And I encourage you, explore further, dive into the history of the consoles we've discussed,
Yeah.
Listen to recordings that were made on them. You'll gain a whole new appreciation, I think.
I think so too.
For Neve's impact on the music you love.
It's true. It's true.
It's like having a listening party with history.
I love that. A listening party with history.
Right.
That's a great way to put it.
And who knows?
Right.
Maybe it'll inspire you to, dust off that old mixer in the attic.
Right. Why not? Get it going.
Give it a go.
Until next time, happy listening, everybody.